Hello, my friends. Welcome to Lean and Clean with Fitness Chef Christine. I am Christine, your host. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Rhonda, and she is a health coach helping women over 50, like myself. She lost 120 pounds. That is huge. And she's here to tell us how she did it and how she helps other women. So, Rhonda, take it away.
All right, super. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
My
grateful to be
pleasure.
here. I am one of those who have struggled with my weight my entire life. I have been a consistent yo-yo dieter, really going back honestly to like the age of 12. And
Same.
yeah, I can remember starting on my first plan back at age 12, and I was doing it with my parents who both have struggled with their weight consistently.
Yep.
And then we would end up doing that for a little bit. We'd get off track, end up going off the rails for a while. Then we'd be like, okay, we need to rein it in, and we'd find something else. And then I would do that for a while. And same thing, I could always lose weight. My problem was I could never keep the weight off. And
Same.
yeah, so that is why I am so passionate about sharing what I'm doing now, because it's the first time in my life I've lost over 100 pounds two other times, believe it or not. But both times, as soon as I hit my goal weight, I would start putting the weight back on, and then it would slowly creep back, and I would gain everything I lost plus more every time I would lose. So I lost 100 pounds, I'd gain back the 100 pounds plus 20.
Right.
Then do something else, I'd lose 60, I'd gain 90. Then I was just this constant back and forth.
So, what do you think changed that whole pattern? Because I too, like at 12 years old, I was at Diet Workshop. I went to Weight Watchers millions of times. It wasn't until I had a mindset shift and I really figured out what works for my body that it changed. But what was it for you? What made the difference this time?
Exactly. The same thing. It was the mindset shift. That is where it all stems from. Because if your mind's not in the right place, you're never going to keep the weight off. The other thing was that I finally found a way to eat healthy, but that's delicious so I don't feel deprived. Because you have to, what I've discovered is that with all these other things I've done, and honestly, you name it, I've done it. I've done Weight Watchers 5 times. That was the one I started when I was 12. Then I've done paleo, traditional keto, Whole30, the Daniel plan, the Daniel fast, made to crave. Like I've taught classes at church before. I've done everything, and yet nothing stuck. Every single time I would put my weight back on. So it wasn't until I realized, you know what, I can't just do something for a period of time, get to my goal weight, and then stop and go back to eating whatever I want. I've got to find something that I enjoy that I can do for the rest of my life.
It has to
And
be sustainable. Yep.
yes, and that's what I have finally found. And it's a keto style plan. So I have a cookbook actually that I created with a lot of the recipes that I ate while I was losing the 120 pounds. It's got breakfast, lunch, dinner, sides, desserts, but it's all of the recipes of things that I've come up with that are healthier versions, so I'm
Right.
not feeling deprived. So I still eat cookie cake. I eat flourless chocolate cake. I eat brownies. I eat cheesecake.
Right.
There was a time we went on a road trip. This was just recently with my family, and not everybody in my family is following the plan. So they wanted to stop and get Panda Express, and they wanted orange chicken. And I'm telling you, there was this little part of me that felt deprived. And I was like, I want orange chicken. Why can't I have orange chicken? The pity party
Yeah,
that we
keeps in
go through.
mind.
Yes. So my sweet husband said to me, you know how to come up with solutions for this? Create a recipe for orange chicken. So that's exactly what I did. And it's funny because my son, he's now 20, he's lost 108 pounds following this plan. And this is his new favorite dish now, is this orange chicken I came up with. So I take thin sliced chicken breasts.
Uh-huh.
I mix together, I like Chosen mayonnaise. It's a brand that has made with avocado oil.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
familiar. Mhm.
yeah, so I mix that with some egg and some water. I dip the thin sliced chicken breasts in that. I dip it in pork panko, which you can just buy at Walmart. And then I put it on a griddle with olive oil and fry it up so it tastes like it's got the crunch.
I'm following
And
you.
for the orange sauce, I just took sugar-free orange marmalade
Right? I do the same
with,
thing.
yeah, with G. Hughes makes orange marinade. It's like a ginger, it's called ginger orange or orange ginger marinade. And I mix the two together and it makes like that thick orange sauce.
Yep.
So good. And I have it with cauliflower risotto. That's one of my favorite things that I've come up with. That's another thing is I missed in the past, I never found solutions for things I missed.
Right.
I just felt sad that I
And
couldn't
you
have
felt like
things.
you had to go without them, right?
Yeah. So
So
that's what's changed is if I miss something, I figure out a way to make it that's healthy and then I enjoy it. And it's a way of not feeling deprived, not feeling hungry and keeping my weight off.
I
So
love
I'm
it.
sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask you if you had your cookbook for sale.
I do.
Okay,
Yes.
so make sure that you send me that link and we're going to put it in the show notes so all of our listeners can get a copy of it as well. Because
Awesome.
that is one of the big things I do here is we share great ways to have what we love, but have it so that it fits into our lifestyle. Because my big thing is here, what I tell people is I'm not about getting people to wear a bikini or be super skinny or any of that. Our goal is to be strong and healthy for our old age. So that
Yes.
when we get to be older, we're not riddled with disease and we're not going to break a hip because we're nice and strong and we're not going to, our cognitive functioning is all working. So that's the goal. But
That
to
we are
get
on
there,
the
you have to
same
love,
page.
you have to love your life. You have to love what you're eating. You have to love like feeling that energy. Because if you feel deprived, it's game over.
Yes.
And that is
Absolutely.
exactly what you talked about, is exactly what happened to me. I'm going along great. I'm going along great. I'm doing super. I'm at these stinking 18 points trying to live my life. And morning comes and I'm like, wait a minute, I already used 15 points and I have 3 more points to go. This is not going to work. So it has to be something sustainable, something that you don't feel sad over.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying. I love and believe what you're saying because I'm the same. So
Yes.
how long has it been since you've lost this 120 pounds?
It's now been, it was in July, 4 years. So it's been just over 4 years. So that
I'm
is
proud
the
of you.
longest I've gone. Yes.
That's amazing. And even better, I think, than our own personal journey is to spread the love and show other people how to do it. Because I speak to women every day who are struggling. They get to menopause, the weight just globs on, and they feel desperate to get it off or feel like they're just not heard. Like I went to the doctor and I told them, I think my hormones are wacky. They're like, no, it's just menopause. You'll be okay. You need to exercise more and eat less. I'm like, my gosh, I can't eat any less. That's not going to work. And I teach water fitness and Pilates and I walk and I'm like, I'm doing all the things. Less and more is not going to work anymore. So it's that knowledge that you have to make it a lifestyle change that is gold. And
Yes.
I know you said, I think, at least I think you said that you have a group and that you're going to be doing a challenge. Is that correct?
I do. Yes. I
All right.
have yeah, absolutely. I have a free group that's called Beyond Keto. And I named it Beyond Keto because I've done traditional keto. And like I said, like everything else, I lost 19 pounds the first month, but then I was still following keto and slowly, even in following it, was gaining back. Later, I discovered that there's certain things that I needed to tweak. I was doing a lot wrong that I've learned since. Yeah, so that's why mine's a keto style plan because I do believe that we need to have the good healthy fats, but I also believe we need to have the good phytonutrients from vegetables. I believe like God created plants for us to enjoy.
I
And
agree. We need to have, especially when you get older, you need a lot more fiber than what we get typically. I was
yes,
shocked when I went to nutrition school and they said how much fiber. I was like, how much? I'm not even close to that.
yes,
So
yeah. It sounds like we've been living very similar lives because I just turned 50 in February. I actually just, it's funny because you know how they say to hit menopause, you have to be a year without your cycle. I just August 14th, so just recently hit
okay,
menopause.
you're there. I'm 57, I think.
Okay.
57, I don't know. Get confused, but and yeah, I'm past it. I'm post menopause, but the challenges still remain. Things are still funky. Sometimes I get that breakthrough bleeding, and sometimes I'm like, what is happening to me? But overall, it's smoothed out. So
Yeah.
I did end up going on hormone replacement therapy because my levels were all over the place. Like I was going crazy. So that kind of leveled everything out. But regardless, it's an interesting time in your life. I always relate it to like puberty. You go into puberty and you're like, what's happening? You get the acne, you get your first period, and you're like, holy cow, what's happening to me? That's exactly how I felt with menopause. I'm like, I got this. I'm doing good. I'm perimenopause. I'm rocking this. I lost 50 pounds of perimenopause. I was feeling all great. And then it all changed. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, wait a minute.
Yes,
So,
and hormones play such a major role
oh, yes, yes. And,
in everything.
you start getting crazy with all that stuff, and then your cortisol level goes through the roof, and you start being like, okay. So having a nice tribe of women, other people that are going through the same thing is the best. It's the best. Even
Yes.
if it's just accountability or somebody to listen to you that says, yeah, girl, I get it. Like I've been there. I know it's hard. Just that camaraderie, like, okay, it's
Yes.
important. So I can't wait to share your group and tell me about the challenge that's coming up. What is it about? When does it start?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Beyond Keto is the name of the group. That's also the name of my cookbook.
Okay.
Um, and the challenge is called Lose 5 pounds in 5 days. And the reason I named it that, it's not a lose weight quick gimmick because I've done all of those. I've done the crazy eat 500 calories or less and lose crazy amounts of weight. And then you start eating like a normal human again and
Right.
put it all back on. So it's not like that. But I named it that honestly because a majority of people who have done I used to call them workshops in the free group, and they were losing a pound a day and it
Mhm.
was consistent. And so I was like, this might be a catchy name because I used to call it the Beyond Keto Slim and Healthy for Life workshop. And in seeing the results that people have, because I do 5 days of teaching. So I go live every night. The next challenge is coming up August 26th and it's
Taking
8
notes.
p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when I go live in the group. And if people start implementing what I'm teaching right away, it's the core principle and concepts that I teach I also have a group of paying clients in a group called Real Health Resolvers.
Okay.
And so this is really the science behind what we do in Real Health Resolvers. So even my paying clients end up redoing these workshops or challenges that I do in the free group.
Sample, little
Yeah,
regenerate. I like it.
exactly. Yeah, because they're just relearning the more, and that's really for me in becoming a certified health coach, the training I received and understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing instead
Right.
of just blindly following. I'm a rule follower. You
I'm a
give me
rule
a set of
breaker.
rules. You give me a set of rules and I'm going to stick to them. But the problem is that as hard as I stick to them, if I break one, I used to have that all or nothing mentality.
Oh, and tell.
So as soon as I would break one of the rules and I would get on the scale and it would go up, I'd be like, forget this. I'd go to Dairy
Well,
Queen, I'd
I
get a
think you get to the
blizzard.
point, yeah, you get to the point you're like, okay, if I'm putting all this effort in and I'm not seeing any change, why bother? That was
Yes,
my mentality. If I went for a week and I was killing it and I felt like that scale could change and it didn't change, then I would be like, I'm gonna go eat whatever I want.
exactly.
Now I just throw out the scale. Just
Yeah,
go away. And
yes,
I realize that what I'm putting in my body is for health and it's not for weight change. Like
absolutely. And that's the thing.
weight change
The
is a bonus. It's a nice after effect. But
you're
really, I'm doing it so that I'm healthy and strong and can be the best grandma I can be.
You are speaking my language because that's exactly, I always say, we're not doing this to become bikini models. We're
Right.
doing this because we want to be healthy.
But it
And
took
like you
forever to
said,
get there.
yeah, the weight loss is really an added bonus. So the name of the challenge, although people will lose if they do it, they will consistently lose. But what they're doing is they're changing their bodies from the inside out. And
I
they're
like the name.
understanding the core concept and the deep rooted science behind why we're doing what we're doing. And it's really lifestyle changes. It's things like drinking water. It's a free resource. I never recognized how important water is does.
I drink a gallon of water now,
Me
but
too.
it used to be a joke. I owned a bakery for 20 years and
Uh,
I used to laugh that I lived on Diet Coke because I seriously never had any water. I don't even know how I lived. It was unbelievable. I
yeah.
never ate real meals. I only ate like pieces of stuff that we were baking and I drank zero water. And I look back and I think, how in the world did I do that? I was
Right.
so chronically dehydrated. It was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and it's addictive. It's hard to get off of Diet Coke. I've done several
Only
sessions on it.
Only way I did it was because my daughter was diagnosed with epilepsy and they
Mm,
told me that Diet Coke was going to cause her a lot of problems.
mm.
So, in solidarity with her, I quit cold turkey.
Oh,
That was the hardest thing to quit ever for me. But
yes.
I accidentally picked up somebody's Diet Coke the other day and took a drink of it and about spit it all out. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my
you
God,
can.
what is that gross stuff? It was crazy.
Yes, that's and I talk about this during the challenge actually. I talk about because my dad was like that. My dad was addicted to Diet Coke. He literally would take his pills with Diet Coke. He
Yep,
never
that's what
drank
I did.
water.
I started out my day with a 2 liter bottle of Diet Coke, and then I
Yeah.
would get a second 2 liter bottle later on in the day. I
Yeah.
know. I'm like,
Yeah, my dad would drink a 2 liter every single day, and that's all he would drink. And he has now lost 121 pounds. So he's surpassed
awesome.
me by a pound. We're competitive.
But look how amazing you are that you inspired all of that goodness.
Yeah, it's incredible. So
I
he and my mom has lost 75. They
yeah,
both had type 2 diabetes. They both now have completely normal A1Cs, no longer on diabetic medications. It's
amazing.
giving them their life back. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Oh,
They're
yes.
both
And
77 and it's giving their life back. People think, oh, I'm in my 70s. I can't do this. I'm too old to lose weight. Absolutely not. My parents are living proof.
so I'm very fortunate in that I teach water fitness. I have an older population that I teach water fitness to, and they are constantly inspiring me. Some of them in their late 80s, early 90s, still coming every day, working out, eating healthy. And they're just a testament that what could be done. Some didn't change their life until they were in their 70s.
Yeah, it
Like
can absolutely be done.
you can extend your life. I always say that fitness and a good nutrition is the key to longevity in life. It is like the fountain of youth.
Yes.
If you could tell somebody one thing that they could change today, I know that the challenge is coming up, but one thing that they could start today to improve their nutrition, what would it be?
My number one thing is get off sugar. If
Yes.
if you can get off of sugar, I'm telling you, your life will change.
And that is so addicting. For a long time, I taught a class, a Sugar Busters class, about just, step by step how to give up sugar. Now, as an ex-pastry chef, I have to say, I love sugar, but
Mhm.
I have definitely seen a huge difference in my life getting rid of it. Am I
Uh,
perfect? No. I still have candy every now and again, but it's not a daily occurrence. It's like a biannual occurrence. So I'm lucky in that I don't like cold sweets. I don't really like ice cream or anything like that. But every once in a while, I get that really big craving for a chocolate croissant. But learning how to adjust and not have it all the time was huge for me because it
yes.
would be that all or nothing. I would either eat a dozen donuts or I would go months without anything. And so just
Yes.
figuring out that it's okay to have a taste of it without eating an entire truckload of candy bars.
And that's the thing is that so often it can cause people to spiral because if they make one mistake, this is how I used to be. Then if I would say my family all got pizza, I would eat the pizza. Then I would say, I might as well have a second piece and then give me the brownies and let me have when I'd go on this whole rampage. And because in my mind, I was thinking, I'll get back on track tomorrow. And then tomorrow would come and I'd be like, oh, but we have that party Saturday. So I'll go back Monday.
Yeah.
Then Monday would come and I'd be like, oh, but there was always something. So I tell my clients, make the next best choice.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Don't let it spiral.
You are
Grab
speaking my
hold of
story,
it.
lady. You are
Yeah,
speaking my story.
just grab hold of it and own it
Right.
and recognize what caused it. Did you eat the slice of pizza because your family had it and it was sitting there in front of you and you could ignore it until finally you couldn't ignore it anymore? Then in the next time, have your family get up and put the pizza away so it's not sitting there tempting you. If you can learn from those mistakes that you make, it is what is going to make the difference. And it becomes a stepping stone instead of it becoming an obstacle. If you
Love
can
that.
see that way, where you learn from this and you grow from it and you change for the next time,
Mhm.
that's what's going to make the huge difference. So, yeah, getting off of sugar is huge because one, it's going to stop triggering insulin. And insulin is hugely important because it's what brings the nutrients to the cell to allow it to be used for energy.
Mhm.
But when you're consistently triggering high glucose type spikes, you're, yeah, up and down with the blood sugar. If you can get that much more even keel, which is what so many of my clients have experienced with just being able to get off of medications for diabetes because they're no longer having those. Parents are perfect examples. They both were at 10.4 A1Cs and they brought them down to 5.3. So you're in normal range. So it's just, it can be done. And the nice thing is, I was totally a sugar, I was an addict. I think most people are sugar addicts.
Yes.
And, but for me, I still have my sweets. And again, that's what makes me not feel deprived. But I use stevia or I use monk fruit. I use
Right.
something that's not going to create those insulin and blood sugar spikes. And
I
so
really like monk fruit. I think it's underrated. Most
oh yeah.
people think of stevia and they're like, oh, I don't really like that flavor, but I like monk fruit. I like it. It's a little more mellow to me.
Yeah, it tastes more like regular sugar,
It
I think.
does.
So
It
when you're
does.
baking and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Yeah. And so that way you don't feel like, because I still enjoy sweets. And actually, I just recently bought a Ninja Creamy. It's an ice cream maker. So now I make my own ice cream using like heavy whipping cream
Yep.
and, an approved sweetener. And you can use the unsweetened cocoa powder. And it's delicious, but
I
it's
have
something
lost
that
my sweetness. Like I don't need anything to be that sweet anymore. I feel like when I first went off of the whole sugar thing, I still was really missing that sweet. But now, like when I have a berries or something, they're sweet enough. I
isn't it
like,
amazing how your tastes change? Yeah.
oh yes, you do. You definitely evolve. Like you're like, okay, I really can taste that sweetness now. Whereas before I was blind to it. And it's like the Diet Coke. It was so delicious when I was drinking it all day, every day. And then when I walked away from it and 10 years later I had some, I was like, oh my gosh, it's gross. It tastes like a chemical cocktail, you know?
Yes, and that's what Dr. Sears is who I was certified through. He calls that wisdom of the body. And it's where your body starts to recognize, hey, this is good for me. And you start to actually crave things that are good for
Yes.
you. And
Yes.
I found that like with my daughter, she's 9. And from the time she was like 3 years old in her smoothies, I've been putting spinach and kale and different things. Well, she actually likes vegetables. And I
Yeah.
really think it's because she has grown up eating them without even knowing it. Like she didn't
Right.
even know it was in her smoothie. But so it's wisdom of the body, knowing what's good for you, but also recognizing what's not good for you.
Yeah.
So if you have something like Diet Coke and you taste it after months of not having it, your body's going to say, hey, stop. This is not what I need. And you literally will want to spit it out of your mouth.
Exactly what I was like. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, your tastes definitely change.
Oh yeah. All right, so we've got your free group. We've got your challenge coming up. Can you go over one more time? When does it start?
August 26th.
Okay, August 26th.
Um,
And
and there will,
how do people sign up?
yeah, it's a free challenge, totally free. So I'll send you the link for it. They just
Perfect.
enter their name, email address, and their Facebook profile, and then it'll send them to a page with a little video that tells them all about the challenge and stuff like that.
It. Love it. Awesome. And you said you do accept private clients. So how would somebody get in touch with you to be a private client?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way is to get involved through the Beyond Keto and join a challenge like that. I do
Okay.
also have a free ebook that I'd be happy to send you the link for that as
Great.
well. That we'll talk about keto and whether or not it's healthy, and fasting and how that helps benefit our bodies, and moving our bodies, and different, some of the core concepts that I teach during the challenges. And then there's links in there for the Real Health Resolvers group as well, which is
Great.
the paid group.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, perfect. And so let me ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap it up a little bit. But I heard you say fasting, and I feel like when people hear fasting, it triggers I don't want to do it. And for me, I'm not a good faster because I get hangry. Like, people don't want to be around me. I'm not pleasant. But I can fast at night. So, for instance, I can skip dinner and go to bed, no problem. And I'm not too hangry because I don't need the energy at that point. But for me, I teach every morning. So it's really important for me to have breakfast. So when I try to skip breakfast, believe me when I tell you, my students are like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, ah. So,
Yeah.
so I feel like fasting gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on that? What's your feeling about fasting? Like it, don't like it?
I love fasting. And here's
Okay.
the thing is that I always was taught you have to have breakfast, then a snack, then lunch, then snack, then dinner, then snack. You need to eat 6 small meals every 2 hours. And
Yep.
it's really not true, especially if you can get your body to having those level stable blood sugar. If you can get your body where you're able to burn fat for energy instead of burning carbohydrates, you're not going to have that sensation. And I have Hashimoto disease, so I still have to, I will never just be able to eat what I want. It's always going to be something that I have to
Manage.
keep doing things to
Mhm.
manage. Yeah. And so my functional medicine doctor has really played a major role in, first of all, helping me with losing the weight, helping me recognize at the time before I lost the 120 pounds, I was seeing a nutritionist. She had me eating nothing but organic fruits and vegetables. I was juicing. I was doing, again, a rule follower. I was doing everything I should, and I was gaining weight. And
Yep.
I went to my functional medicine doctor just in tears. I was like, I am broken. I don't know what I can do to resolve this. I'm doing everything she says. And she told me, you're doing this backwards. You're eating nothing but sugar and carbohydrates from
Right.
the fruits and vegetables.
Right.
You need to be getting good fats, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, nuts,
Yep.
seeds. So you've got to switch what you're eating.
Fats.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and get the protein and and shifting all that, she helped me lose. Once I had lost, at this point, I had lost about 100 pounds. It was about 10 months in, and I was back to see her for something else. And I told her, I said, this is still not easy. She was so impressed and happy that I had lost so much weight. But
Sure.
I said, how can I make sure this time to keep it off? So she suggested doing a bone broth fast 1 day a week. And I was like, bone broth, that sounds gross. Like I
It
was
tastes
just,
good.
yeah. So I was like, you know what, though? Again, I'm a rule follower. My doctor tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. So I tried doing a bone broth fast. I did it 1 day a week, found it was actually somewhat easy. So for about 2 years, I was using kettle and fire. So one day I chose Wednesdays because those are my busiest days because I homeschool my daughter in the morning and then I teach. I'm a games director for Awana in the evening at church. So it's a day where I'm gone and busy the whole day. So I'm not
Right.
thinking about food. And it makes it easy because I don't have to think about food because I'm not eating. I'm just drinking
Right.
my bone broth. I will say that I burnt out on bone broth. So I found Ancient Nutrition, and you can use any brand, but I find Ancient Nutrition chocolate bone broth protein powder. They make it in chocolate, they have salted caramel, they have vanilla, but it's got the same benefits and nutrients that bone
Right.
broth does. So now I'll just do, and so now it's been about 4 years that I've been doing this on
Love
a
it.
weekly basis.
Mhm.
So I really go about 42 hours during every single week with nothing but either I still go back and forth. So sometimes I'll have the kettle and fire regular bone broth. Sometimes I'll have the chocolate bone broth shake, or I'll even make it as like hot chocolate. But It's amazing. If you would have told me 5 years ago that once a week I'd be going 42 hours with no food, I would have said what you said, where there's no way people will not want to be around me. I'm going to be hangry. I'm going to want to eat my arm. But I'm telling you, I feel amazing and I sleep better than ever. I track my sleep on my Apple Watch. And those nights after doing the bone broth fast, I have the best quality deep sleep that I have ever had. And so it's amazing. Like I get 100% sleep rating score every
Love it.
single Wednesday night. And so I know without fail that on Wednesday nights, I'm getting solid sleep. And it's amazing how all of that, like those lifestyle changes of drinking water, doing the bone broth fast, getting good quality sleep, moving your body, all these things tie together to completely change your lifestyle. And that's what this is about, is a lifestyle, not a diet.
Yes. And it's funny when we're going back to the fast, one thing I neglected to mention is if I'm going to do something like that, I have to do it on the weekends because that's when I teach on Saturday mornings, but then I'm done. So Sundays are easy because then it's more of a restful day and I'm not
Mhm.
going out of my brain crazy. So when I meant that it's not doable and nobody wants to be around me, those are the days where I'm teaching and I'm running from one class to another and I'm going a little insane, which is my norm. But anyhow, I really super appreciate you being here with me and sharing your wisdom and sharing your inspiration. I will get everybody all the information that you give me, and I'm going to join your free group. And just really, I love connecting with you. It was fabulous.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're just on the same page. I love it. You speak my language. It's great.
Likewise, likewise. I love having people that were on the same page. It's great.
Absolutely.
I thank you very much and keep in touch and send me all those links, please.
All right, I will do. Thank you so
Have a great
much.
rest of the day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.